Bonjour, book club. Welcome back. We're in chapter 5 today of the Little Paris Bookshop. Look at this day. I got the door open. That just heads out to the National Forest there. Oh, so beautiful. And guess what I have with me today? You'll never guess. Hot chocolate and marshmallow. Okay, so our French word today is amour, love. Because I love you guys. You know, I'm amazed. Every chapter is so beautiful. Every chapter hits so hard. You know who it reminds me of? Frederick Bachman. Like every chapter you read, you just hug the book. It's mind blowing. And did I love chapter 5? So, Max Jordan, he overheard Purdue telling a woman, this book's not for you, which was Max Jordan's book, Night. And so Max Jordan's overhearing this. Purdue didn't see him. And then the lady runs off. And then Purdue's, how long have you been here for? And he's all, long enough to hear. And he's all, oh, that's awkward, And so he asks, why don't you like my book? And he explains to him that his books are like medicine, and that if he gave her his book, it wouldn't have been right for her. It would have bad side effects on her. Jordan asked, how can you know what a person's problem is and what the side effects are? And Purdue tried to explain his intuition. He said he uses his ears, his eyes, his instincts. From a single conversation, he was able to discern what each soul lacked. To a certain degree, he could read from a body's posture, its movements, its gestures, what was burdening or oppressing it. And finally, he had what his father had called transperception. You can see and hear through most people's camouflage. And behind it, you see all the things that they worry and dream about, the things they lack. Every person had a gift, and his happened to be transperception. And so I love this. And now you'll see that Purdue is already starting to read Max Jordan. He talks about how some novels are loving, lifelong companions. We have plenty of those. I'm thinking of Circe, Picture of Dorian Gray. And then my Asha reminds me of the one that he keeps in his safe behind the counter. We'll save that for the end of this chapter. Oh, that touched my heart because I understand that kind of love. Some novels are lifelong companions. Some give you a clip around the ear. Others are friends who wrap you in warm towels when you've got those autumn blues. And some are pink candy floss that tingles in your brain for 3 seconds and leaves a blissful void. Books are like people, and people are like books. He says, I've got about 30,000 stories in my head, which isn't very many, given that there are over 1 million titles in France alone. And then I love this. I've got the most useful 8,000 works here as a first aid kit. But I also compile courses of treatment. I prepare a medicine made of letters, a cookbook with recipes that read like a wonderful family Sunday. Isn't that beautiful imagery? And I can see that when I think of cookbooks, I do think of a beautiful Sunday gathering of family when the cookbooks are out. A novel whose hero resembles the reader. Poetry to make tears flow that would otherwise be poisonous if swallowed. I'm having a hard time talking today. I think I had too much hot chocolate and marshmallows. And then Purdue, he's talking about how he uses his senses. He points to his solar plexus, the back of his head, and he said his upper lip tingles when he's reading people. And he can read, he said, 99.99% of people, but not himself. And I thought that was, it's pretty self-enlightened that he realized that he can't read himself. But maybe he can, but maybe he's choosing not to. And now I love this. So Purdue now asks Jordan how he's doing, how he's feeling, how's your next manuscript coming on? And then it says Jordan, the young author, sank down into one of the armchairs, surrounded by books. Nothing, not a line. Oh, and when do you have to have this in? 6 months ago. Oh, and what does the publisher think of that? My publisher has no idea where I am. Nobody does, and nobody must find out. I can't cope anymore. I can't write anymore. And then he asked Perdue, what do you do when you can't go on, Monsieur Perdue? He asked warily. Me? Nothing. Next to nothing. I take night walks through Paris until I'm tired. I clean Lulu's engines, the hull, the windows, and I keep the boat ready to go right down to the last screw, even though it hasn't gone anywhere in 2 decades. I read books 20 at a time. Everywhere, on the toilet, in the kitchen, in cafes, on the metro, I do jigsaw puzzles that take up the whole floor, destroy them when I finish, and start all over again. I feed stray cats. I arrange my groceries in alphabetical order. I sometimes take sleeping tablets. I take a dose of Rilke to wake up. I don't read any books in which women like blank crop up. I gradually turn to stone. I carry on the same every day. That's the only way I can survive. But other than that, I do nothing. And then I love this. So Perdue, he's already reading. The kid knows what'll help him. And Perdue's going to share with him his most prized possession. And I see this would be like me sharing my Asha book with someone. It says, the bookseller fetched his treasure out of the small old-fashioned safe behind the counter. Santa Southern Lights. Santa Southern Lights was the only thing that pierced him without hurting. Reading Southern Lights was a homeopathic dose of happiness. It was the only balm that could ease Perdue's pain, a gentle cold stream over the scorched earth of his soul. It was not a novel in the conventional sense, but a short story about the various kinds of love, full of wonderful invented words and infused with enormous humanity, the melancholy with which it described an inability to live each day to the full, to take every day for what it really was, namely unique, unrepeatable, and precious, right? We always say that on this channel. Life is a gift. How the dolefulness resonated with him. He handed Jordan his last copy. He said, read this 3 pages every morning before breakfast. It has to be the first thing you take in. In a few weeks, you won't feel quite so sore. And get this, it'll be as though you no longer have to atone for your success with writer's block. He read him bullseye, right? Max thrust out his hand, still holding the 2 melons apart, and shot him a look of terror through the gap between them. He couldn't help bursting out, how did you know? I really cannot stand the money and the horrible heat of success. He wishes that none of it have ever happened to him. Anyone who is good at something is hated, or at least not loved in any case. And then I love this. Again, this is Perdue. This is why we love Monsieur Perdue. It's his heart. He says, Max Jordan, if I were your father, I'd put you over my knee for saying such stupid things. It's a good thing that book happened, and it deserved the success, every last hard-earned cent, all of it. And then it says, all of a sudden, Jordan glowed and was proud. I thought that was so sweet. You know, just if I was your father, he just kind of, it's his nature to just take people in, want to protect them and bring them into his little family. And then I love this. Remember the woman that he got in a fight with and wouldn't let her get the book that she wanted and kept trying to give him the other book, and she comes back. Says the woman from earlier that morning appeared at the galley door. Her eyes were red from crying, but they were bright. All right, she said, give me the books that are kind to me, and to hell with the men who don't give a damn about me. Max's jaw hit the floor. Oh, what a good shot. I get goosebumps when I read this stuff. And it's like these little short chapters, every one hits so hard with just emotion and feeling. And I mean, in 5 pages, there's so much wisdom and knowledge and humanity in it, my friend. Just beautiful. And I'm sensing kind of that found family maybe starting to take place here in this little book barge. Reminds me a lot of what we have here on our channel. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed that. And know I love you. Amor.